Hello. It is February 2nd, 2024, and I am getting a ton of questions. I realized that I have not done a beginner video for my own Facebook group or my YouTube channel. So this is likely going to be part one of a beginner video for bookkeeping. I will be using my workbook as an example. I'm going to keep it short because I have another live coming in like 23 minutes. So let's get started. For beginners, you want to track all of your expenses all year long, not now for 2023 for last year. However, you can still do it so that you can get your taxes done. But I would like to encourage you to get a bookkeeping system in place, whether it's mine or something else, and get started for this year as well. The faster you can get last year's done, the faster you can get on top of this year and be prepared and not fighting an uphill battle when this time next year rolls around. It will also help you to grow your business because you can't properly grow your business unless you know what your numbers are. You don't know whether you're making money, you're losing money, whether you're making good purchases, anything. I'm not going to talk about your like specific types of businesses. What I will talk about is just general businesses that have an inventory, that purchase inventory. If you don't purchase inventory, that's okay. If you're a service-based business, that's okay. Just ignore that part. But this will pretty much cover everyone for the expenses section. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so this is my workbook for resellers. Anyone could use it. If you are not a reseller, then there will just be two tabs on here that are business building tabs that you won't need. So we will skip right to expenses. As you can see, I have it in big bold up here that if you are running an online business, your cell phone and your internet will go in your business expenses. If you see this little drop down to the right of the block, if you click in the, not this one, not that one, okay, but this one, you see the whole list of expenses. So what you need to have is your date, what the category is for whatever it is that you purchased or you paid, who the vendor was, what the amount was, and then if you're not sure or you need to add extra identification to the purchase, then you can put more of a description under why or what. Generally, I'd like to say that if you need to talk with your accountant or your tax preparer about whether or not this is a proper category, then put this here and have that conversation with your accountant or tax preparer. All right, so let's go back over here and look at what the categories are. So these are all of the categories, you returns and allowances. Advertising. Advertising is pretty self-explanatory. Car and truck expense. You're going to be using mileage. 99% of you will be using mileage. And on top of mileage, you can take tolls and parking. So tolls or parking would go under car or truck expense. Mileage is going to be calculated on a different sheet. commissions and fees. So this would be bank fees. If you pay a commission to someone, that would go in here. Any kind of fees that you pay outside of your platforms would go in here. Contract labor, anybody that you pay to do work for you that is not an employee would go in here. Most of us can ignore depletion. If you think you have depreciation and or 179 expense, before you put it in here, make sure you reach out to your accountant and or tax preparer. Most of us are not going to have an employee benefit program. So I will skip that. Insurance, this would be like business insurance, umbrella policy, things like that. Mortgage interest is only going to be for property that is owned by the business. Interest, other. So this would be interest on loans or credit cards that are business only. Legal and professional services. This is going to be your lawyers, your accountants, your tax preparers, any other professional type service that you might need to hire. Office expense is generally going to be more of an equipment type thing unless you have an actual office. I tend to just put most of this stuff in supplies, but if you were to buy a new computer, for example, then and it was under $2,500, then you could put that into office expense. So let's stop right there for a second. If you are getting started in your business, I want you to go write a letter. It doesn't have to be anything serious. Just write a note that says, I expense all items that are $2,500 and less at the time of purchase. This will keep you from having to depreciate all those little bitty things. Date it though when you started your business, sign it, and put it in your file. Now, any individual item that you make a purchase on that is $2,500 or less, you can now write it off. Anything that is $2,500.01 would need to go into depreciation and or 179 expense. Pension and profit sharing, I'm skipping. Rent or lease vehicles, machinery, and or equipment. So if you rented a vehicle to take a trip, if you rented a U-Haul, for example, if you rented any kind of other equipment that you needed in your business, that's where that would go. If you rent a storage unit, if you rent a warehouse, if you lease any other kind of business property, that's going to go here. Repairs and maintenance. This is strictly for the items or the space in your home that you are using in business. If you have a business space that needs new lighting, for example, if you need to put new flooring in, if you need to paint it, if you need to have an electrician come in, if you, whatever you need to do in your business space, or if you needed computer repair or some other kind of repair or some other kind of maintenance, that would go in this section. Supplies, consumables. Any kind of supplies, consumables can go in this section. If you are a reseller, you do have the option to put your inventory in under supplies. I don't, but you have that option. Taxes and licenses, that's pretty self-explanatory. For most of us, we don't need anything like that. But if you are in a community, a county, a city that requires something like this, that's where you would put the amounts. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but that's ridiculous. What else? Travel and lodging. So any travel that you do that has business in it, you can take the travel there and back. You can take the lodging while you're traveling there and back. And you can take the meals while you're traveling there and back. The meals would go under the next line, but I want to make sure that I get all of this in here. Even if you are going for personal reasons, if you vacation, for example, if you decide to work while you're there, if you're a reseller, you go thrifting. If you are a YouTuber and you do videos on location, whatever it is that you do, if it is a legitimate reason for work in that area. If you're a reseller, listing doesn't count. You can't go to an area and say, I'm working here to list. It has to be something else because we can list from home. We don't have to go to a location in order to list. So that doesn't count. Travel meals. You're going to be putting in all of the information. All of the total amount for the meals. There is no actual mileage indicator in the IRS code that states how far you have to go in order to take meals. So I look at it more as a time. If you're in a heavily congested area and it take you an hour and a half to get back to your house, then I would take those meals. If you are not in a heavily congested area, then maybe, if you're an hour away from home or you're out working all day long, then maybe that makes sense. You can also take meals if you are networking, having a meeting with someone in regards to discussing your business. That would be another reason that you can take meals. However, remember that you're only going to get 50% of this money back, one, and two, don't spend money unnecessarily, right? So plan your day and then work your plan. Utilities, online business, cell phone, we need it to run our business. Internet, we need it to run our business. 100% deductible. If you are working out of a warehouse, then maybe you also have electric or something like that. But if you are working from home, those are the two things that would count into utilities. Wages, that's if you have a W-2 employee, including yourself. I've got other miscellaneous expense part 5. I have it in here as 3 different ways. Continuing education, because we usually have a lot of that. Subscriptions, we usually have a lot of those. And itemized category. So anything that is doesn't fit anywhere else, stick it in other miscellaneous expense part 5, itemized category. This section right here, cost of goods, inventory purchases, cost of goods, materials and supplies, cost of goods, other costs. This is the key to your business. If you have, after you take these expenses, if you still have a profit, then you've done well in your business. Everything else that we take is using the Internal Revenue Code to the best of our ability to reduce our tax liability. All right, I'm actually doing pretty good here. So let's hit the next section, mileage. This is the mileage sheet. Every vehicle needs to be kept mileage. If you change vehicles in the middle of the year or at some point during the year, then you need to start a new mileage tracking. This sheet works for up to 4 different vehicles. So you want to put the number of miles, the total number of round trip miles that you went. The furthest point that you go in your business or for your business on a trip, then the round trip mile count. It doesn't matter if you make a stop on the way home at the grocery store. It still means that you went the furthest point for business, and you get to count all the way there and all the way back. So get your furthest point for miles, count your whole round trip, and then write in your places. So for example, maybe you stopped at Staples, and because I have a lot of resellers that watch me, is so Staples and Goodwill and whatever it is that you stopped for business purposes. I mean, Walmart, doesn't matter, whatever it is, put those places in there. Only the business stops, put the total round trip miles, and you're good for each day. Your mileage does need to be written. Okay? Must be written. So you can use your receipts. I don't recommend the mileage apps because it's too much work to do the the swiping, in my opinion, because you have to keep swiping for business, and you can use your receipts. Most of us that are have a thrifting route do the same places. We know what the miles are, so just plug them in. Don't overcomplicate anything. All right, look at this. Home office expense. So this is my home office expense calculator. You must have the total square foot of your home. If you have inventory in your home, then you also have the option of using your garage. If you use your garage, it can be a mixed use space. It's the only area of your home that can be mixed use. So if you store anything, excuse me, at all in your garage, then you can, excuse me, you can take the entire garage. So for example, if we have a 2,000 square foot home and a 500 square foot garage, now we have a 2,500 square foot. Say we have 2 rooms in our house and they are both 12 by 10. That makes them 120 square foot a piece. So we're going to say 240 square foot for the 2 rooms, plus the 500 square foot garage. That means that we are now using 30% of our home. You want to go get the fair market value of your home for when you started your business. If you don't have it already, you can go to your county assessor website and get that number. If it includes the amount, if it includes the land in that, then you want to put the land here because the land is not going to be able to be depreciated. But this is in order to depreciate your house. Don't worry about cost basis for selling your home in the future, because the amount that you're going to get in depreciation here is going to be negligible overall, even if you sell it in a couple of years. Any major improvement to your property, you want to put down here, you want to put what the improvement was and how much it cost you. Not if the insurance company paid for part of it, you only put down what the amount was that came out of your pocket. Again, these are things that are going to be over $2,500 and depreciable. All right, so this list of home expenses is not exhaustive. Electric, water, gas, whatever you have in your home that you pay for. So electric, water, gas, trash, a house phone, home mortgage interest, rent, if you rent, insurance, homeowners or renters insurance, repairs and maintenance. If you guys can hear all that, oh my goodness, how am I even thinking? Repairs and maintenance, alarm systems, HOA fees. This is just a few things. Repairs and maintenance are gonna be anything that you're doing to repair or maintain your home. Think about maintaining your home, painting, housekeeping, pest control, that is some lawn care, pressure washing. Anything that you're doing to repair or maintain your home can go in this section. You want the totals. Your whoever is doing your taxes needs the totals. All right, so my time is just about up for this particular one. That covered most everything as far as expenses and mileage. I hope that this helps you. Please, 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 rewatch this, watch it a couple of times, make sure you get this in your head. Your expenses can be anything that is working to make you a profit in your business. That can be different from everybody. So even if we run the same exact business, it doesn't matter. Even the same exact business doesn't matter. We might still have different expenses, okay? So I want you to make sure you get this deeply embedded in your head so that you can get all of the expenses that you are absolutely able to get to reduce your tax burden to the lowest amount possible. All right? Thank you for coming to my Cheryl Talk. Have a great day.